I was very interested in Americana at the time. It wasn't so much that I was breaking from the European tradition. It was that I wanted to find something that was my own in a way that I could really relate to. And so this professor said to me, read Robert Penn Warren's long verse poem called Brother to Dragons. I read it, and it was exactly what interested me. It was American history, it was poetry, and it was soaring language. The Milton, Shakespeare, the Bible, it was that kind of language, Robert Penn Warren was teaching up at Yale. I had somebody call and ask, could I come up to see him? And he said, of course, yes. I returned on the train with a packet of material, and mostly about Thomas Jefferson, because that's one of Red's favorite characters, and I promised him that he could come to any rehearsal he wanted to, and spend as much time as he. Well, he didn't come until just we were almost ready to open. By the time he came, and he was very excited and pleased, and felt that it was the first time somebody had really cared about the material. So that succeeded far beyond anything that anybody had ever dreamed of, because it simply wasn't being done in the American theater at that time. And Red said to me, why don't we work on All the King's Men? That was in the late 60s, I guess, that Brother to Dragons, and then I think it was 18 years later, we still hadn't attempted All the King's Men, so I said, and by that time I was working, I was running both the Dallas Theater Center in Dallas, Texas, and the Trinity Rep in Providence, Rhode Island, and so I said to Red, I'm going to just announce this in my Dallas season, and we can find time to do it over the summer. Well, he was very sick over the summer and he couldn't come down to Dallas because of the heat and all of that, and so he said to me, if you go ahead and do it, then when you bring it back to Providence, we'll work on it together. Fine, said I. When I got back to Providence, Red was very sick by this time and very old, but he wanted to come to the opening night at Trinity Rep, and so they brought him in an ambulance to the theater late that afternoon, and he slept then until curtain time, and then I went to get him after the audience was in the theater, and I went to get him, and we were going to sneak in the bottom part of the theater. It was a two-sided very kind of auditorium space, and we were going to sneak in the thing, but the audience saw him when he was coming in, and of course here was this great icon, and they just went wild and so forth before the play started, and so I'm afraid that at that performance the audience watched Robert Penn Warren more than they watched the play, but it was all very good.